Show will 4,
3, 2,
1.
Thursday night CrossFit talk with Scott Schweitzer and Jamie Latimer.
We about to change the game. We out here taking names. Let our voices rise. Let them reach the skies. We about to change the game. We out here taking names. Let our voices rise. Let them reach the skies. Hickory, dog, giving them all that we got. Kick them the door, try to knock, but nobody answered. I'm going hard and taking my chances. I keep it moving, I keep advancing, keeping it gangster.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Thursday night CrossFit talk on a Monday night. Before we get into our recap, a couple quick things. One serious, one fun. One is thoughts and prayers out to Cheryl Nasso, who is in the hospital. If you have not seen her Instagram story, she has been in there for a couple days. They're running mega tests on her. She said she's had so much blood drawn. I am waiting to get some updates from her, but until then, thoughts and prayers out to her. And if you could join us in that, that'd be awesome. She's a big part of this channel, and we want to support her in everything that's going on with her right now. So got that out of the way. And now I can't remember the funny thing I was going to talk about, but there it is. So we're here to recap Rogue. We were supposed to do it last night, but Jamie got hooked up into a banquet that was so long they served 2 meals.
Well, it was at Brody Hall at MSU, which is one of the cafeterias that the students go to, but it's open to the public. It's actually a pretty good deal. It's like $13 a person. And they have it's like a buffet, and there's 6 different styles of food. So you can go in the Italian aisle, you can go in the home cooking aisle, you can go into the Mexican aisle. So we did probably have at least 2 meals. Yes.
Well, back in my day, college cafeterias did not give you an option. There was one line. You got what they gave you, and you liked it, whether you did or you didn't.
Yeah, this is fancy. I mean, I wouldn't say it's fancy, but it's a lot there's plenty to choose from. It's kind of a cool, different way to do it. Instead of asking families to bring a dish, it's nice and easy, walk in there, eat.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Because ours, when I was in high school, all of our banquets were parents bring the food.
Right.
And mega potluck So, but the funniest text I got from you was they just started awards and there's a huge stack of them.
Paper plate awards. So he talks about this was after the awards, right? All academic and all that, the actual awards, they get their letter. But he does paper plate awards, and he literally draws or prints a funny picture and has a story for every kid and gives it out to every kid. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be it. We got another hour. And that was 10 minutes before we were supposed to start. I was like, I'm not making this.
Right. Yeah. We only did that for seniors. It was senior, and they were always gags, some kind of gag. But yeah. Kenneth says, I had great thoughts about Rogue, and then I've forgotten them all, investing 4 hours into a Bears game last night. Welcome to my life.
Yeah.
That is every Sunday for me. I invest 3 hours into suffering. And yeah. So that's just the way life is. And we're on next week to the Saints, and Tyson's getting the start again.
Is he? I was wondering.
Yes.
It's not like he played bad. I mean, there was a couple not great, the interception, but I also feel like that wide receiver ran the wrong route possibly. So I was kind of curious how that played out.
Yeah, that's so hard to judge. The one interception where the receiver went deep, he threw short. That one of them was wrong. I don't know which one, but one of them was wrong. I don't think he played awful.
I don't either.
And I know are rabid Tyson fans, and I love the kid. Like, I think he's amazing, but I love my Bears too. And I think he is solid, and he has definitely earned a spot on any roster going forward.
I
Like, and
totally
that's
agree.
huge. Where he came from to that in the NFL is massive. Like, that is, and the Chicago radio stations say this, that is a movie. Like, what he has accomplished already is a movie. Nobody does
Mhm.
that. But to get to that next level of someone who elevates his team, he's not there yet. And it doesn't mean he can't get there, because he's a rookie playing in a big stage for the first time in his life. But right now, he needs a team that can elevate him.
Agreed.
Right? He's not that talent that can elevate a team.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah, he definitely needs a better O-line.
that can elevate him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying about that about my favorite team in the whole wide world. So that's my Bears analysis for the and if Velus Jones catches that ball in the end zone, we have a whole different
I know
story today. And if they don't whistle Darnell Mooney down when he wasn't touched, like, there's 2 big plays that would have been touchdowns.
Yeah.
And were taken away from him. So you see, Kenneth, see what you do to me? See what you do to me?
On to Rogue.
Right.
We're finishing Rogue.
We're finishing Rogue. All right. So the last time we talked was Sunday morning before the 7th event. Let's go ahead. Everybody knows who won right now, right?
Right.
Pat and Laura won. But we're gonna go through how they got there. So we opened up with event 7, which was the rain-soaked Echo Bike Hulk cans with the fat bells.
Yep.
The lunges in place, which I thought was a great substitution.
I loved that. Loved that. So I actually think that probably was a better play than there's always with those like people stepping through, not standing up. I loved the version that they chose. I think I actually would prefer that in general.
Right. And then the hill turned into complete entertainment. As it started with Laura and a slip, and it actually benefited her by getting her down the hill much faster. And then the men made it their joy of the day by Chandler sliding down, giving his high school prom pose. Roman giving the thumbs up, sliding on his back. That was so much fun. And I really liked that they did it in the rain. They went ahead.
Yeah.
They were all things they could do in the rain. I love that they did it because it reminded me of my childhood, going in the backyard, playing football in the rain, sliding, slipping. That to me was a blast.
Yep.
And in that event, it was Laura who took the victory, correct?
Laura and Dalen won that.
Yeah. Dalen barely over Roman.
Yeah. Well, he was in a different heat.
Heat 1.
Yeah.
Because I actually, that was the last pick I got wrong on the shot collar.
Oh.
Was I picked Roman, so I missed it by 1. But that was the last pick I got wrong for Sunday, and I still couldn't catch Lex. So
where'd you end up in that?
24th or 27th.
Wow.
Something like that. Like, I did pretty good, but I think Lex finished 13th. And then in the lineup, she finished 2nd.
Nice. In the top 10.
Like 2nd, like number 2.
That's awesome.
Top 10. Yes. Now I'm with you on the same. There we go. So we started with that, and on Laura, that was hers, like from beginning to end. And you knew if it came down to the bike, she was going to dominate the bike, which she did. To win that. Then we moved to what was going to be pegboards. turned into handstand walk, which the other elements were, gosh, it's hard to remember back. I should have pulled this up, but what was the first part of that?
This was the box jump.
Yes. Tall box jump.
Yeah.
Handstand walk. It was going to be the hill run.
Yes.
And they took that out because of what the slipping and just went around the pylon to come back. So this ended up being Danielle Brandon's workout. Thank God I saw the switch and I got into the Heat One app and got that changed quickly. And then I changed it to Tudor, but switched it to Hoffer just in time. But either way, I would have been 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So that ends with Danielle dominating that. Tia, and then I was really impressed with Laura on her hands, keeping up with Tia.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great improvement. But I ask you this, in a race so close, if that's a pegboard instead of a handstand walk, Laura beats Tia, and we don't have the tie going into the end.
Possibly.
With Laura's rock climbing, her pegboards are flawless.
I think Tia's are pretty darn good too. And I will say, I think I think both of them would have been better at pegboards than they were at handstand walk. I feel like for Tia, handstand walk is always somewhere an event that she doesn't win. Like we're used to that.
Well, in the tailgate party, they talked about how she has improved her handstand walk since we last saw her. That she is normally like head up walking through. And I think it was Annie and Katrin that her head was down and she was much faster on her hands now than she's ever been in the past.
Yeah.
They were like, now we're talking about a Tia that's progressing, which is scary.
Yeah, that's been one of her, not even a hole. She's usually still like top 5, 6. She just isn't, and nobody's really on Danielle Brandon's level, but yeah, it's been one of her not best finishes historically. And she did good. But so did Laura.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought they both did great in that. I just think the pegboard would have been a different outcome. Probably close, but I think Laura gets her.
Yeah.
Personally. On the men's side, Victor Hoffer went ape, killed it. Tudor killed it. They took first and second in that event. And then we had Jay Crouch, who had a phenomenal weekend. Dallin Pepper and Ricky Garrard. Dallin, after a very slow start, had a great Sunday.
He did have a really good Sunday. To that end, I feel like Ken asked something about that. He said, are athletes trying a new strategy of just trying to dominate the last event and hope to come out at first? Colton at Crash, Dalen at Rogue, Laura at the games, et cetera, et cetera.
Trying a new strategy, just trying to dominate the last event. Well, Laura didn't win the last event at the games.
But she beat Tia. Oh,
well, she did.
Oh, at Laura at the games. Yeah.
And Dallin did at the game last day. I don't think that that's a strategy. I think that the fittest people are going to do the best on Sunday. There's an element to, like, Jamie is a great Sunday athlete because she recovers so quickly. Not to brag on you, but that's one of your strengths in live competition, that you're able to bounce back and your Sundays are your best days because of your fitness level. And I would say the same thing about your Tias, your Lauras, your Pats, your Dallins. The fittest people are going to still be strong on the last day, where others are going to be wilting.
Yes. Like Pat. I mean, it is always.
Well, we'll talk about Pat in a second. But
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that.
Was there several people sick too? I also feel like a couple people maybe came in a little bit under the weather and felt better by Sunday than so their performances on Friday or Thursday or Friday didn't quite do them justice.
Yeah, I don't know. The only one I know that was sick for sure was Ariel.
Mm-hmm.
The rest, it would be a guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they interviewed somebody and I thought, wow, they sound congested. And I can't remember who that was.
I think I heard people saying that about Tia.
Yeah. I think Danny was too.
Yeah,
but her good events don't really require a lot of breathing.
Right.
Except for that over-under that she just crushed.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So yeah. So Carolyne said Freyova was sick. Yeah, that was a very underwhelming performance. And for her, and I really thought she would do more. But if she was sick, that explains a lot. And that's a big travel for her too. And I don't think, unless you're Lazar, Jukic, you don't come a month ahead of time to prepare for Rogue. So, and we did talk about this, Sarah, on Saturday night or Sunday morning. The deadlift took way too long. They definitely have to figure that out.
Well, somehow. Ken asked, which was harder to get through, dual 3 or max deadlift?
As a spectator? As a spectator, I would say the max deadlift. And the only reason I say that is they got better for the men on the dual 3. They were whoever went second was much quicker than the first group that went. But I will say what was even harder was the women's cleanup. My God.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Jamie, I said, so let's jump to that. The cleanup, which was 3 rounds of 25 dubs, 5 power cleans, 225, 155. And then we went 2 rounds of squat cleans, same weight, and then 1 round of clean and jerks. They had 1 bar, and the people brought their own jump rope. To reset that bar and wipe it off takes 5 seconds, maybe 15 if you want it extra clean. Why was it taking 10 minutes in between rounds for them to bring the next heat out? That, like, you can ask Jamie. These are real tweets to her. This is a fast reset. I need to be able to do something else with my day than just sit here watching this. And that was atrocious.
Agreed.
Atrocious. There's no excuse for that. They had to figure out who the next group was. I'll give them that to some degree. The deadlift, the rules set up, they had to go through that many bars. They went through that many bars. But that clean, good Lord, no excuse.
Carolyne has your...
So the top athletes get more rest? Is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the first heats are going sooner after their event than the last heats. It if we're going to be, and there are a couple things I can be critical on Rogue for. The delays in those 3 events were so bad. So bad.
Also, it was nice out at that point, correct?
Well, you saw sun coming through the drapes, but I don't know what it was actually like there. Carolyne would be able to tell us that.
I mean, I heard a lot of complaints about the fans there unable to really view the final workout.
Jake said media was so hard to get for that event. Wish you would have called me, Jake. I had 2 slots and we didn't use them. I would have hooked you up, brother.
I had heard that too, that was the time cap set for the 175, and then they didn't shorten it, which is,
I mean, that's fine, but everybody was done 6-7 minutes in, and it's I said to you on the stream, like, all those fans are standing on that concrete for such a long time. Like, that's brutal. Like, I would rather work out than stand on concrete. And she said it was really cold, and announcing some rain still. You just couldn't have started the event and then have weather issues, so they made the call early to put it inside. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it going inside. Yeah. Okay. So we finished up with this event. On the men's side, Pat had a really big lead.
He did.
And he almost Vellnered it.
I know. I was so nervous.
He gets to the last rep and he can't get the jerk. Very reminiscent of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw on barbell spin, it was 8 seconds away from him losing first place.
Holy cow.
8 seconds longer to get that clean and jerk up, and Jeff Adler would have won.
Wow. Insane.
And he had a huge lead going into that.
Yeah. 60 points. Like, I was like, oh, there's no way he can lose this. And he tried.
He did. He was doing so good. Like, he didn't fall off a log. He didn't do any of the other typical Vellner things.
Mm-hmm.
And he Vellnered the last rep again. It's now a verb. It's not a name. It's a verb. And so, yeah, Sarah says classic Vellner choked on the last rep, but Vellner is the man. Go Canada. Yeah, he is. Like, he deserves the win. He was great all weekend, but dang, if you're a huge Vellner fan, your heart was in your throat on that last rep. And then we have Jeff Adler in second, and we have Roman Krennikov in third. Same podium as the games, and same fourth place as the games.
I know.
On the outside looking in. And what was the point differential on that?
They were tied. It only was. Yes. I think Brent was so. Win,
and Brent didn't.
Yep.
I think Brent needs to ask Jeff what those Russian phrases were that got Roman all riled up so that he can use them at the next competition.
Yep.
Because that is 2 times where Brent should have, could have, might have, and didn't.
Dalen screwed him over.
Yep. Dang. And then Ricky Garrard, 565. So it was really that top 4, and then it was down almost 45 points to 5th. So a big chunk.
Well, it was pretty close. 5, 6, 7, 8. 565, 555, 545.
Yeah, but there was definitely a delineation from the top 4 to the next group.
Yeah, from 4 to 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so just to finish out the top 10, Ricky Garrard 5th, Travis Mayer 6th, Jason Hopper 7th, Talon Pepper 8th, Jay Crouch 9th, Noah Olson, in maybe his last individual event, finishes top 10.
Good for him.
Very Noah.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go to the women's side where we came in with two ties to entering the last event. There was a tie between Laura and Tia for first, and there was a tie between Emma Lawson and Gabby McGowan for third.
So
two big
exciting.
races going down. Emma Lawson outduels Gabby McGowan by taking second in the final event. So impressive the way she moves with that barbell for a smaller athlete. To take second was really impressive. And then Gabby McGowan took sixth. So Emma Lawson finishes with 650, Gabby McGowan 630. And then we had Tia and Laura side by side. And what I loved about this part was that Laura pushed the pace. Tia tried to keep up, and Laura broke her.
Yes. Yeah.
To the point where Tia misses a rep on the last set, gets a no rep, and actually then falls from second to third. And Laura gets the win. And so I loved that part of it for Laura. I think that duel probably did more for her confidence than anything else through the weekend.
Yeah.
So
watching Tia, I would move. I'm like, oh gosh, for her in her head, she's probably thinking of her final versus Cara. Jump rope, kettle, like can't mess up. Definitely can't mess up on the jump rope. And when she talks about that, and she says like, you know, well, I guess it was Cara who said like, you made your bed, like you got to go keep up that pace. And I think they both felt like it was a blistering pace, and I'm sure that was running through Tia's head, like, this is fast. Can I hold on? But I mean, she had to try.
Completely agree. Carolyne comes in with Tia's squats aren't quite there yet. You could tell the squat cleans were much harder for her than usual. Same with back squat in event 2. I think that's probably one of the movements that's taking the longest to get back. But it was a great finale, and Laura really. It was more the mental that I was impressed with Laura, because I know like physically she's going to do well in that event, but mentally knowing that that's her event and to push the pace with Tia, that was what was different for me.
Yeah, she just looked super confident. I think she knew she had it from 3, 2, 1, go.
So Laura first, Tia second, Emma third, Gabby fourth, Alex Kazan fifth. Super impressed with that. That's 2 comps in a row. She's fifth with elite athletes. That's got to do a ton for her confidence. Emma Carey sixth. What a comeback this weekend. Started a little bit slow, but made a nice comeback. Danielle Brandon seventh, Ariel Lowen eighth, Danny Spiegel ninth, and Mano Anganese 10th. Another impressive performance. Mano. Many people wouldn't say top 10 for her.
Finish.
Yeah, not the best finish. 2/16 to finish out the weekend. But before that, she was crushing it. So there's some questions in the chat that I do want to get to, because this is something we kind of talked about. And it's Sarah Cooper who says, what do you think of the programming overall since the scores were so tight? and you and I have had text conversations, and I want you to be honest.
It's not even solely the programming. I mean, I had issues with the whole comp, and I don't want to bash it. I mean, everyone had their frustrations with watching, and we can't do anything with weather. They made the best of every situation they could there. I kind of wish things. I feel like you need to have proper backup plans in place. Just like removing like a rope climb, and I mean, I feel like that week before this weather had to have come up, and you really needed to like dial in some alternatives rather than just, okay, well, we'll take this out if we need to. Or I don't know if handstand walk was always the alternate there. But yeah, we said this the other day, like the scores go from like a first to a 17th, and that's across the board pretty much. I don't think there's anyone without something out of the top 10. So, which is good and bad. Like you're getting a broader maybe range of testing. It's not clearly just one person's wheelhouse that's able to come in. And I will say there were like multiple workouts that had like something that somebody maybe was great at with something else that they weren't. And that was kind of cool to see. Like it wasn't just a runaway, except for maybe like the Hoffer and Brandon one, but that was an alternate workout. Yeah, they have never handstand walked at Rogue. So I'm like curious, was that a super last minute change to that? Was that always their backup plan? I don't know.
So I was listening to the tailgate party. Josh Bridges was on almost all day Sunday. And he said that there are elements that they're holding in their back pocket so that they can surprise people by bringing them out. They don't want to be like known at just this. It's going to be that. They want to hold back some so that they can pop them in as like a surprise.
I can see that.
That is a strategic thing done by the programmers. And Josh was very honest on the tailgate party thing, like, because there's questions in here from Kenneth about too many people involved in it, too many cooks in the kitchen. I don't think so. I think that it's a very collaborative effort. One, Josh Bridges, Chris Spieler, don't know the equipment at their disposal. So you have to have Katie involved to say, hey, we want to feature this element, like the fat bells. Mm-hmm. I thought those were awesome. I
like those a lot.
That added a ton to that event, right? Mm-hmm. And that's something that they wanted to feature. And so now you've got to come up with a workout that features that element, right? And mm-hmm. Katie was involved with the programming as much as Josh and Chris. The three of them collaborated on everything. And Josh was very open about who came up with what ideas, when and where, as they were going through the competition. And I'm sure Carolyne can talk to this. They tested and realized things were too heavy. Things were not right. They made changes after she did testing with them. So I think that is, I think it's better when it's more than one person, especially for events like this.
You need people willing to not be yes men, though. Right. Like, because then it's almost like it is one person. So if you're gonna speak up and put your foot down and really like back up your reasonings for certain things, then yeah, I think it could be great to have, because I mean, one person may be a little biased in the way they program, and getting that broadened out a little bit, I think it could be good. What was I going to say?
I think Josh and Chris are very similar type athletes.
They don't program what you would necessarily think for themselves.
So I think that's where
Although-
Katie comes in.
Yeah. Josh, I feel like Josh always liked squatting though. And you see that a lot.
Well, he's a big believer in squats. He talks about it. Like
Yeah.
he thinks it's the most fundamental movement in CrossFit, and squatting should be a part of every day. And he talked about the collaborations they did, and I don't think there were yes men. I think that it was
Yeah.
a true collaboration where they went back and forth on different things.
Did Josh have any opinion about the change in workouts? Does he feel like it took away what their testing goal was?
So he talked a lot about removing the rope climb from the dual. And he said that their biggest goal on that was just to make it judge free. And I think like even removing the rope climb even went further for that. And I think we got to see like a pretty good show, and he seemed very happy with how that turned out. But he also was talking Sunday about that they couldn't just, the reason they added handstand walks in and didn't just eliminate pegboards is they couldn't just keep taking gymnastics out.
100%.
So they had to find something to keep. And he said they had multiple contingency plans depending on if things were altered earlier in the weekend or not.
Okay. Well, that's good.
So that if you had to alter something earlier in the weekend, it may affect how it was altered later in the weekend.
When was the decision on the final workouts weight made?
So I don't know. I don't know. Josh did speak to that what they had done to their shoulders through the weekend made them believe they needed to lower the weight.
So nobody had tested the weekend in a hole? And
I don't know. That would be a Carolyne question if she's still here, because she was there all weekend to do testing. Right. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But he said that they realized the fatigue on the shoulders as they got into the weekend was going to be too much.
Did the men's weight get lowered as well?
Yes. It was going to be 255, 170.
175.
170. It might have been 175. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carolyne, we're talking about the final event, the cleanup. Do you know when they changed the weight? And I did the workouts essentially back to back in 2 days. Yeah, Katie actually commended you that she thought you would need more rest, but because you're a school teacher and that your training is compressed, you actually liked it better faster. And so she was in awe of the way you did testing. She said that on, I think it was with Josh and them on the tailgate. So if you didn't see that,
awesome.
kudos. She was really ramping you up.
That's really cool.
But yeah, so that I know that's what Josh, because Pat asked him straight up, like, why did you lower the weights? And he said, listen, their shoulders are wrecked. We did not think it was going to be a completely different test if we would have done that, and people would not have been able to finish.
I mean, I think they probably would have finished in the 14-minute cap that they had set. It would have been much slower, much paced. It wouldn't have been the race we saw. You probably would have saw more fail. I mean, I guess it still would have sort of been a race, but like you probably would have seen more fails on the final bar, the final round. And And
I
that's,
think we saw enough fails on the final bar.
I think we did. I mean, we saw enough fails at the weight we had. I honestly can't imagine what it would have looked like at the other weight.
I can't remember who said it, but if it would have been heavier, it would have been more paced. You may not have gotten as many misses because it's just a different stimulus getting there, right? It would have been more slow and methodical as opposed to a sprint.
Yeah.
Jay Birch says, that's teachers for you. 30 minutes for lunch. Go, go, go. So yeah, so do you have everything out you wanted to get out about programming?
Yep.
Okay. Couple things about the broadcast. I forgot how good Pat Sherwood could be. He is so good at letting other people shine. That tailgate broadcast was magnificent. It was just so cool the way he let Rich and Jason and Annie and Katrin and all of them. I'm missing a million of them. The way he let them shine until by Sunday they were telling so many funny stories. Like, I almost wish they would. So what would happen is, like, when there were the delays, they would like shut down their broadcast for 5 minutes.
Oh.
And they'd come back. If they would have kept that going, I probably wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
The way they were ripping on Khalipa, like, I could have listened to that all day. Because I guess in the legends, Rich passed Khalipa on like the last 5 meters to the finish line. And Khalipa turned like with these wide eyes and was like, bro. And they were just ripping him.
That's awesome.
It was so good. It's everything like that I remember from my high school locker room, just like everybody shooting the shit, having a good time. It just was awesome. And it added a nice alternative to like Adrian's very analytical color commentary. Because if I had to rewind, I had to go with the main broadcast. So I got a little bit of both. And like Adrian is very much about level 1, how the back should be set for a deadlift, bar over knees, blah, like all of that stuff, which is really cool in one aspect. And then this gives you an alternative. So you can it's cool to bounce back and forth between the two. So there's that. There was some glitchiness at times, and sometimes all the angles would not be synced because one feed was a little faster than the other feed or based on bandwidth, which made it weird because I'd think that this person was ahead, but then I'd look on this screen and know they're a little bit behind. And then, and I don't know which one's true. And, so that was a little weird, but still A effort, A- execution. And I would definitely buy it for any event that I would at $25. Like, that's my wife and I going to the movies. Right. And this gets me a whole weekend. Definitely worth it. There was a question here about Bethany. What do you think about Bethany just bowing out on multiple workouts and the Hopper box tap versus chip timer debate? So I think that became an issue. The box tap versus the chip timer became an issue when they had the Wi-Fi issues, as Sarah's saying. So I think if there wouldn't have been the Wi-Fi issues, the boxes wouldn't even have been there.
Right.
I think the boxes were there in a contingency if they couldn't get the Wi-Fi up. This is me riffing or guessing, but because eventually they did go with the chip timers on the duel. So I think it was only a controversy to us because we didn't understand what was going on behind the scenes.
Right.
To everybody else, everybody was fine.
Yep. Well, we think. I mean, we did see some of the women reaching for the box. So again, it goes back to how were they briefed?
I agree.
But
I liked that they touched the box. It gave a better look. Like the complaint we had with MFC about not knowing when they were at the end. At least when they touched the box, you had a clue.
Yeah.
Right. Even though the chip timer was really what the answer was, at least it looked like they were trying to finish and hit a buzzer.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about that, Bethany bowing out of events?
Sure. Okay, sure. What are your thoughts?
I guess I'm confused because I feel like in the past Rogue has had minimum work requirements. Wasn't that an issue with Laura? And she was essentially out of the comp.
That was year one. That was 2019.
So they didn't like that, and they were like, "We're not doing that anymore." Not getting. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like it was heavy, so I can't blame the girl. But
so she bowed out of 2 lifts. That was the deadlift. And what was the other?
The back squat.
The back squat.
And she did the final workout. She just wasn't fast. She got through it.
Listen, she was invited. She gets to accept the invitation. She's from Austin. So Rogue paid for her to go home and see her family. Enjoy it. She's never been able to do it in the past because of health or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about her back squatting, Carolyne. That's how I would have done it. I would have had to try to work my way up to maybe PR and hit the squat. Like, again, it's the very, very top have gotten so strong, and I know people want to push the weights, but like, not everyone can do those weights. And like, to me, it's this, what kind of athlete do you want there? I did talk to you about this, Scott. Like, I feel like I guess I can't even say this. The qualifier didn't necessarily get one type of athlete in there, because I think both Hoffer and Tudor came in out of the qualifier, and they're different athletes, but it's almost always going to lend itself to getting one. The qualifier is going to lend itself to getting at least one big, strong power athlete in. And for me, I get frustrated watching Tudor work out. He's not fit. I don't want to see that. To me, that's like watching a strong man work out, or like he's strong, but he can't keep moving. And for me, CrossFit is doing multiple and doing it fast and going back and forth between movements. So I get frustrated with things like that. Bethany's a good CrossFitter. She just doesn't have that top end strength.
True.
Arguably one of the top. Like when you get like a not 333. What's the one that she did so good at the regional repeat? Why can't I think of the name of it? A lot of reps. It went from like pull-ups to you have the heavy dumbbell, finish with the shoulder to overhead.
Yeah,
I don't know why I can't think of the name of that workout. Maybe Carolyne can think of it. And that's the thing. Ken? What about someone who can move but can't lift, like an earlier Haley Adams? So, and it just really depends on how the sport wants to push for, because like, I know I'm biased, and I know other people really like to see the list, but like I will always want to see a Haley or a Sam Briggs like out there moving well, moving 90% for them, probably better than. And that's the other thing, you see people just shut Tudor down because they can move what's heavier for them faster than Tudor can, because he just falls apart. And I think that's crazy impressive to see the repetitive reps out of someone who isn't the strongest athlete.
I think like it's all optics, right? If Bethany would have walked up to the deadlift bar, tugged on it, and went, nope, don't have it in me, and walked away, it's a different optic than just waving to the crowd and not attempting.
Yeah.
Like, so if she would have done that, I would have been fine with it. You can't lift it, you're done. If she would have went to the back squat, tried to get it up off the thing and couldn't, then that's different than stripping off the weight and doing half and then trying to leak up and never attempting the full weight. Right? So I think it's all about optics. If you just go under the bar, look like you're going to try, and you go to like lift it and it just doesn't go, I think we're all fine with that.
Yeah. Kenneth, I would 100% rather watch Hunter McIntyre at Rogue.
Yeah, she does not like Tudor. I think Tudor is 20 years old, and he needs someone to take him under their arm and make him fit, make him run, make him row, make him bike until the wheels come off. Instead,
I actually kind of like the kid. Yeah. That's exactly it. Like, yeah, you're just like so one-sided. I mean, he can handstand walk and lift heavy. I just want to see him get fitter.
Right. And I would say at the same age, Haley was the same one-sided, photo negative. Mm-hmm. He did leave Townsend, Kenneth, but if you so if I think Haley should go to Townsend, Tudor should go to Mayhem.
Yeah.
So that's my belief. Jay Birch wants to know, how does he get in the competition? So I think she's over exaggerating that he's not fit. He's fitter than most of us. His weakness is muscle endurance, and he poops out in workouts pretty fast along the way, unless it's his wheelhouse, like handstand walking, stuff like that. And I think in most of these qualifiers, they're not long chippers, right? Mm-hmm. Because you got to do video review, you got to do all that stuff. So you condense the workout down into a time frame that's actually better for Tudor. Mm-hmm. Look at me being an analyst.
Good job.
Yes, she does.
And I think they're biased to heavy.
Rebecca needs Townsend too.
She's getting stronger.
She is.
She amazes me.
I mean, we talked to her in Pasadena, and she is much stronger than she was last year. Mm-hmm. But the field's just getting stronger too. Mm-hmm. And everybody said this year's semifinals were for the bigger, stronger athletes.
And that's where, like, I guess the sport needs to like really figure out how they want to, what kind of athlete they want to keep promoting, because people are just keep pushing the weight, and that's probably why people like Tudor don't necessarily back off from that, because they want to stay strong. If gymnastics prowess got pushed more, you'd see a different athlete. I don't know that I love the.
Whataburger. Go
Did,
ahead.
Rebecca?
Yeah, she did qualify for Whataburger.
Good for her. I don't know. It's just for me, like the 1 reps, like I'd rather like go do that at a powerlifting or a Olympic weightlifting competition. But that's just
So
my bias.
I will tell you this too. And during the tailgate, you have people like Rich and Josh and Matt talking about how the athletes out on the floor tower over them. Like they kept saying those used to be the anomaly,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're too tall to CrossFit. And now everyone's tall.
Yep.
Like you look at Matt and Josh compared to Hopper and Yella,
Mm-hmm.
like it's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, Jay Birch, the men are huge. And Yella was even wearing a vest to reduce all the swelling. That was so funny. So I know Jay Birch was there. I know Carolyne was there. How hot was it this weekend before Sunday? If Yella's wearing an ice vest, like how hot was it? So the last thing I want to talk about with you is coming into this, we said that Laura was in a lose-lose situation and Tia was in a win-win. If Tia won, it's just Tia being Tia. If Tia didn't win, it was because she had a baby 5 months ago.
Right.
If Laura won, it was because Tia had a baby 5 months ago. And if Laura lost, it was you can't even beat Tia when she had a baby 5 months ago.
Right.
And here we are, where Laura makes a comment at the end of Rogue saying that this meant more to her than the games because she was able to beat Tia. And everybody said that her games victory didn't count because Tia wasn't there. And she's being ridiculed online for those comments. And everybody is doing the thing we said was going to happen before we even came into this weekend. And here we are. So what are your thoughts? 80 to 90% humidity, 89 degrees. That's hot.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's warm. I would be back to being scared if I was the rest of the women. I think she's going to be untouchable again come the games.
Let me be devil's advocate. What does it do for Tia did not lose for 7 years? 17 to so I don't know. Maybe 6 years, right? Did not lose an in-person competition in like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
She got beat. Regardless of the situation, someone beat her. And the person that beat her is going to get to compete against her again. Does that give her enough of an edge, knowing it's possible? Just knowing that it's possible.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, nobody else beat Tia.
Nope.
And Laura did.
People beat Tia and
but for the
that's the other thing. Yeah. It's not like Tia always wins every single event, and that's at some point, those kind of like, if when you do go, like Ariel said it, maybe that was one of the big things that was huge for Ariel, the fact that she won in the Fran on the, or not the
Elizabeth.
parallel. Yeah. And yeah. Because I think that did something huge for Ariel's confidence. Like when you take someone down that everyone thinks is unbeatable, even if it's just one event, that's you do find like chinks in their armor, and you're like, okay, well, clean some things up here or there, and she isn't unbeatable.
Right. And that's another thing that was said in the tailgate party by Annie over and over. Like, she would get upset if someone said this person's unbeatable. And Annie would say, nobody is unbeatable.
Right.
And Annie competed with that attitude.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why she was so good for so long.
Yeah.
Right. But you have to, it's like when Tiger Woods went on his run, though none of those golfers could beat him. So they didn't believe they could. Then all of a sudden there's some chinks in the armor and people start beating them. And then it becomes more regular because people know it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that there's a lot to mindset in this game. And when Matt comes out in the red shorts and the white shirt, like he's a god to those kids.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Same with Tia. You come out in those colors, and when you see them not in those colors, your mind plays tricks on you like this is not right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could go a long way. But I do agree with Carolyne on this. There's still such a gap between Tia and Laura and the rest of the field. Not many people coming between them, that's what makes Laura's hole so bad.
Correct.
Because she can hang with Tia on everything else, but she's not going to get more than 5 or 10 points on anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say here,
maybe that's where they need P-score.
Not going there. Just like people in the comments saying Adler's no longer the fittest. People have been dogging on Adler since he won the damn games because it should have been Romans. I'm so sick of this. Jeff Adler's freaking fit. And he deserved that championship, and he beat everybody who could make it to the end.
I agree.
Carolyne says, people are always trying to bring Laura down. She is so fit and deserves all the credit. There's events nobody is close to her, including Tia. I completely agree. And this, I will say, last night before the Bears game, they interviewed Tyson Bagent, and they asked him, like, what did his father give him? And he said, my father gave me unrealistic expectations that I could make it. And look at him now. He's met those unrealistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So mindset can make a huge difference in a career.
It can, yes.
The women's field is not deep enough. Laura needs lots of help of people going between her and Tia, and there's just not that many who do.
Yep. Emma's trying to break in there, and she does.
Yeah. And I think Alex Kazan's going to take some wins for sure. And I think Emma Carey is getting better and better. So I think there are some people that and if Mal comes back and if Haley comes back, there's definitely going to add some people to the mix.
Yeah.
So yeah. Is that all I have to say about that? It is. But it's going to be, the thing I don't want to happen is for Tia to run away with next year's games. I had so much fun at this year's games because because it was unknown who was going to win.
Yeah, there was a race. What more could you ask for, being tied going into the last event?
Right. Like these last few competitions, the games, Rogue, like these have been fun events to watch because the end is not determined until we get to Sunday.
Yep. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Kenneth DeLapp says Gazan has passed Carrie as our American woman hope. You think? Is that what you think? You think? Did we forget that Ariel podiumed last year?
I was wondering, are we like, is
Just
it
throwing
Ariel?
her out with the trash? And what I will say is, I think Alex is a freak of an athlete. And when she figures it all out, it's going to be pretty amazing. But lest we forget, Emma has been a freak of an athlete for years, sustained a back injury, and is on her way back. And she keeps getting better and better with every competition. And she finished one place behind Alex. One place. And that was 40 points. So, and I love Alex. Alex is awesome. I want her to be awesome, but I love Emma too. Emma was one of the first guests we've ever had on the show. So there's some loyalty there as well. Sarah says that Jake said Alex really took a hit when pegboards were pulled. I agree, and I agree that Laura did too. And he says Paige Powers.
I was hoping she'd finish top 10 this weekend.
I didn't love what I saw this weekend there.
Yeah. I would agree.
But I don't know where she's at in her training.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell. And I wouldn't say creeping up. Like Paige jumped from like 25th, 24th to 10th. That's not a creep. That's a leap.
Yeah.
So yeah. But for the first time, there's going to be a lot of Americans in the top 10 in a while on the women's side. But on the men's side, it just seems to be all that maple leaf stuff.
I know.
That. It's like the women of Iceland of the mid-teens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now it's the men of maple and bacon. So I was just trying to get a rise out of Sarah. So there was something else. It was, I can't remember now. Shoot. There was something said on the tailgate that I wanted to bring into this, but I forgot what it was now. He's got to get that strength up, man. Ricky Mack, 2024. I'm calling it now. He's got to get the strength up. He's going to get. What happens is there's so many of these big guys now, the Hoppers, the Romans, that the duel would highlighted it so bad for Ricky. He was way more athletic than all of them, over, under, and sprinting, gets to the sandbag and just isn't as fast grabbing it and going.
Well, it'll be programming dependent.
You're correct. But he was amazing over and under and running. He had a huge lead every single duel to the sandbag. It was just, and then he made one bobble and it was all over.
Yeah.
Because he was my shot caller on that. And I texted Jamie, if he could just get the bag in the bin. I did not watch TDC Week in Review today.
I have not either yet.
I usually grab it as soon as it comes out, but I was really busy at work today.
Same.
He did. It's the raw strength, Sarah. He did well in the sandbag ladder at the games. He did. But the sandbag ladder, for some reason, didn't mean you had to be big. Like Jacqueline Dahlstrom proved to us that it was about getting the technique right of getting that up. It's how fast the other athletes just like grab that sandbag and toss it. And for Ricky, it's concerted effort getting that up off the ground and into the bag or into the bin.
Yep.
And his room for error is so small on that he like when he bobbled the one bag, that cost him moving on.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's not that he can't do it. It's his room for error on those events is teeny tiny. So, well, cool. Holy shit. We went an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know. Oh, well, this is supposed to be a quick one and you haven't eaten yet. So you're probably looking at me like, I'm going to punch you. All right. Well, with that, it's been fun, guys. Thank you all for being in the chat. Be with us on Thursday. We'll probably be giving away another mystery pack of mint trading cards. We'll come up with a good trivia question for that. Andrew Sten won last week. And then in our roundtable show, who was it? I have it right here. Chelsea Miller won today, a pack. So they will be getting a mystery pack of trading cards. And thank you, Kenneth. Prayers and thoughts for Coach Cheryl. Mm-hmm. And we hope she recovers soon and is out of the hospital. With that, we will see everybody next time on Thursday Night CrossFit Talk.
We're about to change the game.